When I was 9 months pregnant, my husband's first love, for some excuse, moved into our home. Every time she saw me, she would cover her chest, looking as if the sight of me brought back painful memories. My husband firmly believed that I was deliberately showing off my pregnant belly to make his first love, Ran, angry. Ran is in poor health and can't have children. You keep parading your pregnant belly in front of her every day to provoke her. It seems that you won't learn your lesson unless I teach you a good one. He ordered people to lock me in an attic that had been abandoned for a long time and forbade anyone from bringing me food. I struggled and begged for mercy, telling him that the B ultrasound showed that the twins were too big and the doctor had instructed that I should be admitted to the hospital for childbirth today, but he seemed to have heard a ridiculous joke, and his voice was as cold as frosty ice shards. You're still 3 days away from your due date. Stop playing the victim here. Go to the attic and reflect on your actions. This is the consequence of your making things difficult for Ran. I was in such intense labor pain that I broke my nails, but no one came to open the door. My heart-wrenching cries echoed in the attic for a long time, until my whole body was soaked in blood, and an unformed fetus was still stuck in the bloody cavity of my lower body. 3 days later, my husband sipped on the porridge that didn't suit his taste and said, "Let Jiangji come out and make me a bowl of porridge, then tell her to go up and apologize to Ran. If she shows sincere remorse, send her to the hospital to give birth." No one dared to respond, because the pool of blood seeping out from the attic had already flowed down to the second step. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Why has that jealous woman, Jiangji, stopped howling? Sir, could something have happened to Madam? She was screaming her lungs out last night and sounded really miserable. Fu Machun took a sip of the porridge and snorted dismissively. No one knows Jiangji better than I do. She's just putting on an act on purpose. This time, I must teach her a lesson so that she won't dare to mess with Ran in the future. The butler glanced in the direction of the attic and stammered. But Madam is carrying twins, and the doctor said that she should be admitted to the hospital for childbirth as soon as possible. Fu Machun paused in his action of drinking the porridge, and his expression softened a little. Is that so? He stirred in the bowl with a spoon for a while, and a trace of hesitation flashed in his eyes. Fine, let Jiangji come out and make me a bowl of porridge, and then crawl over here to apologize to Ran. Today is her due date. If she apologizes sincerely, send her to the hospital. Fu Machun warmed a cup of milk and walked into the guest bedroom. In the bed, Ran was breathing evenly. The blanket had slipped off her shoulders, and a hint of charm was subtly revealed at her chest. It made Fu Machun's Adam's apple bob. He stared at her for a long time before reluctantly looking away. He bent down and planted a kiss on her lips. Ran slowly opened her eyes, stretched lazily, and pouted coquettishly. Brother Machun, you're teasing me again. Fu Machun parted his legs and let Ran sit in his lap, his fingers idly kneaded at her waist. With you sleeping like this, how could anyone resist? Ran buried her head in Fu Machun's chest and let out a few comfortable moans. But Sister Jiangji has worked so hard to carry your child. We're both women, and I can't let you betray her when she's at her most vulnerable. Suddenly, as if she had remembered something, she said anxiously, Sister Jiangji was screaming so loudly last night. Could she be giving birth? Sigh, even though hearing Sister Jiangji in such pain makes me feel sorry for her, I'm still envious. Being able to carry and give birth to a baby for Brother Machun would be a sweet happiness for me, no matter how painful it is. Sweet happiness. At this moment, I had already become a ghost floating beside them on the floor of the attic. Red blood had spread all over the room, on the walls. There were deep scratches with bits of my broken nails and flesh, which I had made out of intense pain, not to mention that in order to give birth to the child, I had torn my lower body to pieces with my hands. When I took out the first child, he had already stopped breathing. Blood gushed out immediately from the torn cavity of my lower body, and the second child was stuck in the bloody, torn cavity. The sticky blood matted my hair. I held the bloody fetus in my arms and stopped breathing with my eyes wide open. I wondered what kind of reaction Fu Machin would have when he saw this scene, but for now, he was only focused on holding Feng Ranran tightly in his arms. His tone was full of guilt and self-reproach. It's my fault. I shouldn't have let the pregnant Jiangji appear in front of you and make you sad. I swear, this is the last time this woman will carry my child. You won't see any other pregnant woman in this house from now on. You have no idea. Jiangji even lied to me to soften my heart. She said she was afraid of having a difficult labor because the fetus was too big, and she also said that the doctor suggested she be hospitalized immediately. She could survive 3 days and 3 nights in the wild without food. How could she tell me she was afraid of giving birth? My heart ached, and I could barely breathe. The constitution of a pregnant woman is inherently different from that of an ordinary person. What's more, ever since I became pregnant with twins, the discomfort during my pregnancy had almost exhausted me several times. Due to my poor physical condition during pregnancy, I even had to be hospitalized to preserve the pregnancy. When I was first locked in the attic, I pleaded with him to let me out, saying all kinds of begging words, because if I was really locked up for 3 days, it would definitely result in the death of me and the 2 babies. But in front of me, Fu Machin loudly instructed the butler, "Go, find a stinky river and throw the key in. No one is allowed to secretly open the door for Jiangji. In 3 days, I want her to kneel and apologize to Ranran. In order to survive." I tipped down the hanging painting on the wall. My hands were covered in blood as I tried to pry open the attic window. My nails were even broken off forcefully. Enduring the excruciating pain, I mustered up my strength and climbed out of the window onto the rain ledge. I clung tightly to the roof tiles with my hands and inched forward little by little, trying to jump to another room to escape. However, in the garden downstairs, Fu Machin was passionately kissing Feng Ranran, holding her tightly. The 2 of them were kissing wildly, and it seemed that things were about to get out of hand. Suddenly, Feng Ranran pushed Fu Machin away, looked up at the attic, and let out a terrified scream. Fu Machin looked up and flew into a rage when he saw me desperately trying to escape. He believed that I had deliberately appeared in front of Feng Ranran again. He ordered someone to bring a crane, and he personally operated it. He used the bulldozer blade to press against my belly and rammed me back into the attic. Intense pain shot through my abdomen, and blood seemed to flow endlessly, trickling down my legs. In the end, my eyes were wide open, and I held the bloody child in my arms. Just like that, I stopped breathing. Fu Machin brought the milk to Feng Ranran's lips. "I've already sent someone to bring Jiangji here to apologize to you. If she's sincere, we'll send her to the hospital. If not, she can just wait to give birth in the attic." Feng Ranran sipped the milk slowly but still choked on a mouthful. Her eyes filled with tears, making her look pitiful. "Brother Machin, you can't treat Sister Jiangji like this. It's very dangerous for a woman to give birth." Fu Machin sighed and looked at the girl in his arms with doting eyes. "You're just too kind, which is why you're being bullied by a woman like Jiangji. Jiangji is an expert in wilderness survival. She can survive for 3 days without food or drink, but you, little one, are so delicate that you can even choke on a sip of milk." He gently tapped her nose. "You even said that it's dangerous for women to give birth, as if you've given birth before." A trace of panic flashed in Feng Ranran's eyes, and she immediately lowered her head, her voice tinged with grievance. Only Brother Machin can see through the fragile heart hidden beneath Ranran's strong exterior. She looked up again, her eyes misty, and her lips glistening from being bitten. She hooked her arms around Fu Machin's neck and pressed her chest against his, rubbing it against him intentionally or unintentionally. Fu Machin couldn't hold back any longer. Panting heavily, he kissed her. Feng Ranran murmured softly, their lips intertwined passionately, and then they began to eagerly demand from each other. But at the last moment, Feng Ranran suddenly pushed away the man who was gasping for breath. "No, you're a married man now. Besides, Sister Jiangji is still carrying your child. Ranran doesn't want to be the mistress who breaks up a family." The desire in Fu Machen's eyes almost burned. He said in a hoarse voice, "Okay, I will never let down Ranran's true feelings. Just wait for me a little longer. Only a clean me is worthy of touching a clean you." After saying that, he kissed her forehead with lingering desire, as if he were cherishing a rare treasure. A hint of triumph flashed in Feng Ranran's eyes. Fu Machen couldn't see it, but I did. Not wanting to be the mistress who breaks up a family, I just found it ridiculous and laughable. She had come to me several times and brazenly said that even if I was pregnant, I was just making wedding clothes for her. Even the child I gave birth to would have to call her mom in the future. What was that all about? She moved into my home under the clumsy excuse of being sick and having no one to take care of her. She openly flirted with Fu Machen at the dining table. Even the aunt who cooked for us couldn't stand it and made some sarcastic remarks about her. Immediately, she complained to Fu Machen, saying that the aunt didn't wash the ingredients properly, which made her suffer from gastroenteritis, and she demanded that the aunt be fired. At that time, I had no appetite during my pregnancy, and only the food cooked by this aunt suited my taste. Out of courtesy, I approached her and suggested that we could hire another chef to cook for her, but she slapped me in the face. "It doesn't matter if the food tastes good or not. What matters is knowing who the mistress of the house is, Jiangji. I'm telling you that there is only one Mrs. Fu, and that's me, Feng Ranran." In order to prove that she would be Mrs. Fu, she nestled in Fu Machen's arms and sobbed like a kitten. She cried and said that she was not fortunate enough to bear children for him in this life, and seeing me with a big belly every day made her feel sad and lost. I've been trying my best to avoid Sister Jiangji, but I still can't help running into her every day. I'd better move out. Ranran is really unhappy living in such pain every day. Fu Machen's emotions got out of control in an instant. He rushed up with a cold expression and slapped me to the ground. "You know very well that Ranran will be stimulated at the sight of a pregnant woman, yet you keep parading your pregnant belly in front of her every day. What on earth are you thinking? Such a vicious woman. You don't deserve to be a mother. Today, I'm going to lock you in the attic and teach you a good lesson." Several bodyguards grabbed my arms and legs and threw me into the dusty attic. "The doctor told me to go to the hospital for childbirth today. She won't be able to see me even if I go to the hospital." I desperately clung to the door frame, begging with tears streaming down my face. Fu Machen sneered, "If you're going to lie, at least make it consistent. Your due date is still 3 days away." He didn't listen to any of my defenses and slammed the door shut. My fingers were caught hard in the door. The sudden excruciating pain made me hunch over and retract my fingers, and I couldn't say anything more. Fu Machen looked satisfied and locked the attic. At this moment, the two of them were still clinging to each other. The butler ran over, out of breath, his voice full of panic. Madam is gone, gone." Fu Machen suddenly raised his head, looking thoroughly displeased. The butler wiped the sweat from his forehead and said fearfully, "The attic is full of blood, madam." He didn't dare to continue. Fu Machen straightened his rumpled shirt. "What blood? Oh, is she having a show of blood? Is she about to give birth? Send her to the hospital." The butler swallowed hard and continued to answer reluctantly, "Madam, she has no breath left." There was a trace of panic in Fu Machen's voice. Just as I was trying to listen more carefully, his voice turned harsh again. Keep pretending for me. I want to see how long she can keep this up." She could survive in such harsh conditions in the wild before. She could hold her breath underwater for more than 10 minutes. She's just scaring you with her lack of medical knowledge and holding her breath. "Call my private doctor. I want to expose her tricks in person." The butler's eyes widened. "Mr. Fu, madam's child is already." "Whose side are you on?" Fu Machen interrupted him impatiently. "Do I pay your salary, or does that woman pay your salary?" "Yes, I'll go and get the doctor right away." The butler let out a helpless sigh and then left. Feng Ranran leaned against him softly. "Brother Machen, don't be angry. Anger is bad for your health. This woman, Jiangji, knows how to win people over. It's only been a few years, and she's already acting like the mistress of this house. Fu Machen's words were like a slap in the face, waking me up from my self-righteousness. In just 3 years, he had already forgotten his former promises. On our wedding day, Fu Machen looked at me with love in his eyes and said, "This is your home, and from now on, you're the only mistress of this house." Tears welled up in my eyes uncontrollably, just now. I had actually been deluding myself into thinking that if Fu Machen knew I had died during childbirth, would he feel even the slightest bit of regret and self-blame? How ridiculous I was now, and how stupid I had been back then. I had actually believed Fu Machen's words that he would love me forever, back then. Fu Machen and Feng Ranran were supposed to get married due to their family's long-standing relationship as childhood sweethearts. But Feng Ranran was unexpectedly diagnosed with an inability to conceive naturally due to her physical condition, so she boarded a plane to a foreign country without looking back and cut off all contact with Fu Machen. She claimed that as the only heir of the Fu family, she couldn't bear to marry him and cut off his bloodline. In order to forget the pain of the breakup, Fu Machen joined a wilderness exploration team, and I happened to be the team leader. Later, when he proposed to me, he said that I was brave, resolute, and the embodiment of all that was good in the world. I was the faith that guided him when he was lost, and the place where he knew his life belonged in an instant. After we got married, he thought that wilderness exploration was dangerous, so he asked me to resign and stay at home to prepare for pregnancy and give birth to an heir for the Fu family. However, during the days when Fu Machen and Feng Ranran were broken up, he had been drinking and staying up late every day, and his body had already been severely damaged. I faced the pressure from the elders of the Fu family to have a child, while taking care of his health. I was also actively preparing for pregnancy. Finally, in the 3rd year after our marriage, I successfully became pregnant with twins. The 2 elders of the Fu family were so delighted that they immediately held a press conference to announce that the child I gave birth to would be the sole heir of the Fu group. Just then, Feng Ranran returned to the country, and she brought back the words, "I have no interest in the inheritance rights of the group at all. As long as I can be with Machen, Ranran, am already very satisfied in this life." Fu Machen started staying out all night, and there were red lipstick marks on his white shirts that couldn't be washed off. I resolutely proposed a divorce, but Fu Machen said that the child in my belly was the heir of the Fu group, and he refused to let me go. He also said that Feng Ranran was ill and needed someone to take care of her, so he brought her into our home, and because Feng Ranran couldn't have children and couldn't stand seeing pregnant women with big bellies, he locked me, who was about to reach my due date, in the abandoned attic. Fu Machen truly deserved to die 1,000 deaths. The doctor arrived soon. As a personal acquaintance of Fu Machen, Gao Yu had always been in charge of Fu Machen's health management. Fu Machen crossed his arms and followed Gao Yu angrily. "Jiangji, let's see how much longer you can keep this act up." The door had been violently smashed open, and my body, which had been leaning against the door, rolled to the side due to the force of gravity, and the child I was holding in my arms was also pushed into the corner. The thick dust covered my bloody body, making me look like a mummy. Gao Yu frowned tightly, but still, out of professional habit, he routinely checked my vital signs. Fu Machen covered his nose from the smell of blood and refused to take another step inside the attic. "What the hell is Jiangji up to? This room stinks so much." The butler kept his head down and didn't dare to make a sound, only stealing glances at Gao Yu from time to time. "Mr. Fu, please accept my condolences." Gao Yu took off his gloves, his expression grave. Fu Machen's cursing came to an abrupt halt, and he released the fingers pinching his nose. "What do you mean by accept my condolences?" He walked straight up to Gao Yu and stared at him. Gao Yu avoided his gaze and pointed at the body whose face was no longer recognizable. "Mr. Fu, the accident has already happened. Madam is dead, and she died during childbirth." After saying that, Galyu bent down and wiped the dust off my face with his glove. My pale face formed a tragic contrast with my grayish body, and my lower limbs were still in the position of giving birth. My whole body was in a strange and ridiculous posture. Fu Machin took one look and burst out laughing. Galyu, when did you start having an affair with Jiangji? His eyes were cold as he swept over Galyu. Could the child in Jiangji's belly be yours too? Did she call you to save her as soon as I locked her up? No wonder she tried to jump out of the window to escape that day. Was it part of your plan? I treated you like a brother, but you slept with my wife behind my back. Fu Machin grabbed Galyu by the collar, his eyes blazing with anger. Galyu was also enraged. Are you even human? So it was you who locked Jiangji up, causing her to die during childbirth. You're a murderer. Keep acting for me. Are you trying to use the trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain, using a fake dummy to scare me? The real Jiangji has already been rescued by you. Gaoyu's expression changed several times, and finally, he couldn't bear it anymore. He punched Fu Machin right in the face. He used all his strength and knocked Fu Machin down, making him fall beside my body. My eyes were wide open, staring directly at Fu Machin. Fu Machin jumped up suddenly, and in his panic, he touched a necklace on the ground. It was the one I had torn off with my last bit of strength before I died. Love in the city. There was only one like it in the whole world. It was a token of our love that Fu Machin had bid a high price for and given to me. Fu Machin stepped back abruptly, and his whole body hit the wall. Then he saw those scratches mixed with blood and flesh. But soon, Fu Machin forced himself to calm down. His eyes were sinister as he swept over Gaoyu and the butler. Are you all in this together, playing tricks on me? What did Jiangji promise you? I bet she said that after giving birth to the child, she would get the shares of the heir of the Fu group, and she would definitely not treat you badly, right? The butler shook his head repeatedly. Mr. Fu, Madam has never said such a thing. All these years, I was really deceived by her innocent appearance. I didn't see her ambition at all. You've all become her lackeys one by one. Hee hee. I'm telling you. Jiangji's wishful thinking is going to fail. The condition for the child she gave birth to become the heir is that she has to be the wife of the Fu group. Just then, Feng Ranran walked in. Brother Machin, have you found Sister Jiangji? That is, seeing the bloodstains on the wall and my pale face connected to my body in a strange posture rolling in the corner, Feng Ranran was so frightened that she screamed and threw herself into Fu Machin's arms. Ranran, don't be afraid. Fu Machin held her in his arms to protect her, and his tone softened. It's just a fake dummy they used to act, that bitch Jiangji. She dared to collude with these people and try to take over our family business. After saying that, he gave a fierce glare at the butler and Gaoyu in front of him. I'll dissolve my marriage with Jiangji tomorrow. The child she gave birth to will never be the heir of the Fu family again. As for you, if you still want to keep your jobs, persuade Jiangji to come back and apologize to Ranran immediately. The person is dead right in front of you. Where do you expect us to find her? Gaoyu roared angrily with his neck thickened. Gaoyu, our two families have been friends for generations. I don't want to make things too ugly with you. If you like that bitch Jiangji, you can have her, but the prerequisite is that she has to come back and divorce me. There was an undisguised joy in Feng Ranran's voice. Brother Machin, are you really going to divorce Sister Jiangji? Yeah, as soon as I find Jiangji, I'll divorce her immediately. Ranran, are you ready to be my bride? Feng Ranran shyly hid in Fu Machin's arms, her voice as soft as a mosquito. Ranran has been ready for a long time. Gaoyu spat and didn't want to be involved in this farce anymore. The butler, for the sake of his job, could only follow Fu Machin and search the attic over and over again, hoping to find some clue that I had escaped. I just thought it was both absurd and ridiculous. My body was right in front of him. What on earth was he still trying to find? They searched the attic but found nothing. They even threw the baby that had been knocked away into the trash can as if it were a doll, until Fu Machin opened the window that he had personally nailed shut. When he saw the blood-stained window lock, he was slightly stunned for a moment. Then, he became even angrier. "Did you want to escape that badly? You really didn't want to be my wife, did you? Fine, Jiangji, if you're hiding in the dark and laughing at me right now, then I'll tell you, I don't want you anymore. From today on, you're no longer my wife." After saying that, he smashed the Love in the City necklace to pieces. Feng Ranran timidly walked around my body and stood beside Fu Machin. "Brother Machin, could this really be Sister Jiangji?" Fu Machin lovingly hugged Feng Ranran and made a domineering declaration. "Don't be afraid, Ranran. This is all a trap set by Jiangji. We don't have to wait for her to show up. I'll go find a divorce lawyer right away and announce our engagement at a press conference next week." I looked at the Love in the City necklace that had been broken into pieces. It turned out that the former deep affection was so vulnerable in Fu Machin's eyes. The day I met him was during a wilderness exploration in a heavy snowfall. The weather suddenly turned extremely bad for no apparent reason, causing the team to move forward very slowly, especially Fu Machin. He wasn't a professional explorer, and gradually, he was left behind at the end of the team. As the team leader, I had no choice but to let the others go first and stay behind to take care of Fu Machin myself. The snow blocked the mountain, and we took shelter in an abandoned wooden house. There was no food or water for a full 3 days. With my excellent survival skills, I led Fu Machin to be successfully rescued. He said that those 3 days felt like he had lived a whole lifetime. He fell hopelessly in love with me, but I thought that when a person encounters a little warmth in a time of crisis, they will have an illusion of love. So at first, I rejected his pursuit. This man, however, persisted for 4 years. For 4 years, he accompanied me on countless wilderness explorations. On the plateau, even while breathing oxygen, he accompanied me to stand on the highest peak in the extremely cold region. He caught a cold and had a high fever, but he stayed at the camp. Yet, because I returned late, he insisted on going to find me and bring me back. I also became ordinary. In the face of danger time and time again, I developed a sincere heart to share weal and woe with him. Everyone said that I was fortunate, and that the young master of the Fu group would marry no one but me. I always thought so too, until Feng Ranran returned to the country, no matter when, with just a phone call from Feng Ranran. Fu Machin could immediately leave me and go to accompany her. Ranran grew up with me. Without me by her side, she can't do anything well on her own. Ranran has no one to take care of her. When she has a high fever, she can only stay at home alone. I brought her to our home, and you can take care of her. His heart was divided into 2 halves, and the half he gave me became smaller and smaller until I could no longer feel it. When Feng Ranran wasn't back, Jiangju was worthy of being loved. After Feng Ranran came back, it was like the sun overshadowed the moonlight, and my little bit of light became insignificant. But I had clearly proposed a divorce, and he still wouldn't let me go. When he locked me in the attic, there was only endless indifference in his eyes. "Jiangji, think it over. If you want a divorce, you can't take this child with you. You'll be locked in this attic until the day you give birth." I was trapped and died in the attic that looked just like the mountain forests that year. But this time, what blocked me wasn't the heavy snow, but the doors and windows that my former lover had nailed shut with his own hands. The survival skills that I was proud of, which were taught by Fu Machin, also became useless and led me to a hopeless situation. My body was thus left to stink in the attic, ignored by Fu Machin. To him, the most important thing now was his engagement banquet with Feng Ranran. Fu Machin held a press conference and announced this good news with a beaming face. He also showed off his affection with Feng Ranran on the internet. Fu Machin, after going around in circles, "It's still you." Feng Ranran, after searching high and low, "It's still you." Their former alumni all came to send their blessings. Lovers will eventually get married. Blessings, from school uniforms to wedding dresses. I believe in love again. Gao Yu's comments seemed a bit out of place. "Have you found the living Jiangji?" Fu Machin only replied to this comment of his and pinned it to the top. If Mr. Gao wants to hide a beauty in a golden house, how can I find her? The literal meaning of Fu Machin's words was very obvious, and there were countless curses and rebuttals from netizens under Gao Yu's comment. That wasn't enough. Netizens also dug up and spread rumors about my previous experiences in wilderness exploration. I heard that the relationships between men and women in wilderness exploration teams are really chaotic. Could this team leader have gotten her position by sleeping with others? No wonder she could seduce Mr. Fu back then. It seems she really has a lot of experience. Even some lawless people used the gimmick to replace my face with AI and spread many fake videos. The insults that flooded in made me extremely painful. But what about Fu Machin? Instead of stopping it, he even personally liked these rumors. He stared at the phone screen, looking extremely pleased. Jiangji, let's see how much longer you can hold out and not show up. I roared desperately, but I could only watch helplessly as my slap passed through Fu Machin's face. Fu Machin and Feng Ranran's engagement banquet was held in the most luxurious hotel in the city. However, there was no sign of joy on the faces of my father-in-law and mother-in-law. Once they had strongly opposed my marriage to Fu Machin in those years when I was preparing for pregnancy. In order not to hurt Fu Machin's self-esteem, I didn't tell him about his physical weakness. Later, however, I couldn't bear the pressure and had to confess it to my father-in-law and mother-in-law. Since then, the two elders had changed their attitude towards me, especially after I became pregnant with twins. They treated me like their own daughter. Fu Machin, I don't care how many women you want to marry, you must find Jiangji for me. The child in her belly is the only heir of our Fu family. The old master Fu said sternly. Don't worry, she'll show up obediently today. Fu Machin looked confident and glanced towards the entrance of the hotel from time to time. My soul was trapped around Fu Machin, and I didn't know what tricks he was up to until Gao Yu appeared. Fu Machin immediately got up to greet him. But when he saw that there was no one beside Gao Yu, his expression showed a brief moment of disappointment. He immediately called several bodyguards to hide on the hotel balcony and whispered instructions. Search Gao Yu's car immediately. If you find even a single hair of Jiangji's, you must report it to me. After giving the instructions, Fu Machin lit a cigarette. He smoked it quickly and fiercely and was choked into a fit of coughing. The bodyguards soon came back. Mr. Fu, we didn't find any trace of Madam. We didn't even find a single hair of hers. Damn it, where the hell is she hiding? Fu Machin's face was filled with anger, and he slapped the hotel railing hard. The bodyguard raised his head, his eyes full of hesitation. When they returned to the banquet hall from the balcony, the guests had already started to leave one after another. Gao Yu stepped forward angrily and grabbed Fu Machin by the collar. You fucking smashed my car. Fu Machin avoided his gaze, but still shouted back defiantly, be smart and hand Jiangji over quickly, otherwise, next time, it won't just be your car that gets smashed. Gao Yu retorted coldly. Fu Machin, how much longer are you going to deceive yourself? His fingers gripping Fu Machin's collar turned white, and he continued to mock. You slandered her innocence and refused to admit the fact that you killed her. You're just avoiding the truth. Avoiding the truth that you killed your own wife and child with your own hands. The body in the attic is Jiangji. She only gave birth to one child, and the other one didn't make it, and she died during childbirth. Gao Yu released his hand, and his words were full of provocation. The reason I didn't call the police was to wait and see you break down when you learned the truth. Fu Machin, do you dare to let a forensic doctor examine the body? Or are you just afraid? Afraid that the body is Jiangji, Fu Machin suddenly lost his strength and stumbled several steps before he could stand still. When he returned to the villa, Feng Ranran had already changed into a sexy Lolita outfit and moved into the master bedroom. Her figure was wrapped in white fishnet stockings, and she leaned bonelessly against Fu Machin. Brother Machin, Ranran has been waiting for this day for a long time. Today, Ranran finally belongs to you. After saying that, she closed her eyes. stood on tiptoe, and offered her red lips to Fu Machin. Surprisingly, Fu Machin actually refused her affectionate gesture. He pushed Feng Ranran away, his eyes evasive. Ranran, there are still some matters in the company that I haven't dealt with. I'll sleep in the study tonight. After saying that, he turned around and left. Feng Ranran stamped her feet in a hurry and chased after him while taking off her clothes. But even when she was completely naked, Fu Machin just instructed, "Cover yourself with a quilt at night and don't catch a cold." Then he turned around and closed the bedroom door. Fu Machin didn't go to the study. Instead, he turned around and stepped onto the stairs leading to the attic. Was he finally going to confirm all of this? Fu Machin summoned up his courage and opened the door of the attic. It already stank to high heaven. He was still cursing nonstop. "What the hell are you up to, Jiang Jiag? I'm giving you one last chance. If you don't come out, I'll really be angry, Ag." But as he was cursing, he gradually fell silent. He walked over and slowly squatted down in front of my body. The attic was stuffy and hot, which caused my body to rot almost beyond recognition. There were even maggots crawling around in my skin and rotting flesh. Fu Machin didn't cover his nose as he did before. Instead, he leaned closer to my face. Then, he became extremely angry. "Jiangji, is it really that fun to play tricks on me? The dummy is made so realistically. How could you possibly be dead? I won't allow you to die without my permission." Just as he was in a rage, the sound of footsteps suddenly came. There was a look of surprise on Fu Machin's face. "Jiangji, I knew you weren't dead." But his eyes widened. The people who came were the two elders of the Fu family. Seeing the scene in front of them, Mrs. Fu let out a scream and fainted. Mr. Fu had seen something after all, but at this moment, he couldn't help but retch continuously. He waved the walking stick in his hand and struck Fu Machin on the back of his knee. Fu Machin let out a muffled groan and knelt down. Beast, you actually killed Jiangji, killed your own child." Fu Machin suddenly roared like a madman. "This is all Jiangji's trick. Once we were trapped in a wooden house, she gave all the food to me. In the end, she survived too." Hearing Fu Machin's words, I felt nothing but bitterness in my heart. So he remembered all of that. Then why, as his former savior, did I end up being pushed to my death by him? Mr. Fu was furious. He used the walking stick to strike Fu Machin's back again and again. "Idiot, how could the Fu family have given birth to such an idiot like you?" Fu Machin was annoyed by the scolding and called the bodyguards to help the two elders away. After being left alone, Fu Machin began to examine my body again. Although it looked completely unrecognizable, he used his hand to feel along the dried-up bloodstains. Suddenly, he saw something, and his whole body trembled in panic. Then he turned on his phone and searched frantically. I stood behind him and saw it clearly. Can a pregnant woman give birth before the due date? The moment he found the answer, he was stunned for a long time. He was unwilling and continued to flip through the pages one by one. Suddenly, he let out a crazy howl. "I didn't know. I really didn't know. I thought that a pregnant woman would only give birth on the due date. No one ever told me that she could give birth early." He called Gaoyu again, and his tone was unexpectedly soft this time. "As long as you give Jiangji back to me, you can name any conditions for our future cooperation." On the other end of the phone came Gaoyu's curses and mockery. "Cooperation? Who wants to cooperate with a murderer, by the way? Let me tell you that your new little beautiful wife had 6 abortions before you married her. Open your phone and take a look. It's the top trending topic." Fu Machin was stunned for a while, not knowing what he was thinking. Just then, Feng Ranran ran up. "Brother Machin, someone is spreading rumors about Ranran on the internet. Hurry up and spend some money to suppress it." Fu Machin frowned and clicked on the trending topic. Almost all the young masters of the groups in City A had gathered together. They testified with their real names that Feng Ranran had an abortion for them during her relationship with Fu Machin. Among them, there were a few who were good friends who used to call Fu Machin brother on a daily basis. Fu Machin stared at those trending topics for a long time before he opened his mouth to question. "So you can't have children because you had 6 abortions?" Feng Ranran's face turned pale. Like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, her voice was sharp. You believe them, but not me. Is this what you call loving me? Fu Machin suddenly sneered. Your health has always been poor. I offered to take you to the hospital, but you refused. But you didn't know that besides being able to read medical reports, Gao Yu also understands traditional Chinese medicine pulse diagnosis. He had already reminded me that there was something wrong with you. But I still chose to believe you instead of him. After he finished speaking, he called someone to lock Feng Ran up. Fu Machin stared at my body in silence and gently wiped the blood off my face bit by bit with a clean handkerchief. Fu Machin stared at my body quietly and used a clean handkerchief to wipe the bloodstains off my face bit by bit. He called my name over and over again. No one responded to him. Finally, Fu Machin couldn't hold back the sadness in his eyes. He knelt down on the ground and covered his eyes in pain. Aji is really dead, is that so? I will pay with my life. Aji, you wait for me. I watched indifferently, but the resentment in my heart grew stronger and stronger. Pay with his life, with the lives of me and the child, a total of 3 lives. What could he use to repay us? As my resentment accumulated more and more, I clearly felt that my soul had gained strength. I held my breath and concentrated. And I moved an old guitar and smashed it hard at Fu Machin. He was knocked down and lay on the ground in a sorry state. Soon, he got up, his tone full of joy. Aji, you're back, right? I didn't have the time to pay attention to these words. I just lifted the guitar again and smashed him until his head was bleeding. Fu Machin also knelt up straight and let me smash him. His face was covered in blood, and he looked like a madman. Finally, his whole body trembled, and after a long while, he lowered his head. A week later, Feng Ran, who was being condemned by everyone on the trending topics, disappeared together with Fu Machin. Many people thought that they had committed a murder and fled the country. In fact, Fu Machin sent Feng Ran to northern Myanmar, and he himself, carrying my body, set foot on that exploration path again. When he reached the foot of the mountain, Fu Machin was stopped by the staff. The blizzard has blocked the mountain, and there is a risk of an avalanche at any time. Just like that night, when Fu Machin had a high fever and was stopped from going to find me alone, he still chose to avoid being noticed and secretly ran up the mountain alone. It was still that dilapidated small wooden house. The wind and snow almost froze Fu Machin stiff. Aji, I've come to pick you up. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, facing the rolling white snow in front of him. The heavy snow buried the wooden house tightly, piling up a snow mountain. From a distance, it looked like Fu Machin's grave.